Something I've kind of gone back and forth on in starting like my general internet journey is people kind of validating my body and ensuring me that I'm not fat, I'm just curvy, and then they'll go through all these like lists of reasons as to why my body is so awesome. It'll just kind of be like a smorgasbord of things that are good about me. And then in a completely different video where I might be wearing different makeup, different clothing, I may be presenting myself differently, the comment section will be 100% different. And it'll be very much so like you are, you know, they'll call me every name in the book, they'll tell me how fat and how gross I am and how I need to cover up and lose all this weight. So I kind of wanted to talk about this today, and it really isn't so much like, I'm not really asking you whether I am curvy or fat, because to me the words don't really mean anything. I've been yelled at for using the word curvy. I've been yelled at for calling myself fat. There's not really a descriptor I go to as like, this is my body. I'm not really asking which one I am. I'm just going to kind of compare situations where I was called one or the other and sort of talk about why I think it's damaging to try to validate someone else's body or completely destroy their self-image. I've noticed a lot of the times when I'm called curvy or when people praise my body in a positive light, it's usually in a couple of different scenarios. And I've never pretended that I don't do things to make myself look nice on camera. This is my full-time job and I want to feel good in myself. So a lot of the times when I do bikini videos, when I do like lookbooks and stuff, I am 9 times out of 10 fake tan, because fake tan always makes you look a little bit glowier, a little bit more lively. It adds like a really nice summery look, which I'm usually filming bikini videos for the summer. Other than that, having a slightly darkened skin tone can often make me look a little bit smaller. It can often hide cellulite or imperfections or rolls that I might have on my body. The other thing is usually when I'm wearing something high-waisted or something that cinches me in at the waist and flares out over the hips and thighs. You can't really see what all is going on down below. You can just kind of see me at my smallest point, and from the, you know, like basically chest up, I have a pretty pronounced collarbone, and I think a lot of the times people just assume I'm not necessarily bigger just because of like my weight distribution across the board on my body. It's really interesting to see very positive comments like, don't call yourself fat, don't call yourself plus size, like perhaps seeing my body in one light and meanwhile I'm the exact same size in a different video, but because things fit differently, the things that people say are very, very, very different. Perception is a huge thing, and it doesn't just apply to like YouTube or just apply to me. This applies to everyone, because let's face it, like clothes do things for people, makeup does things for people. You're not going to look the same day after day after day unless you're wearing the same makeup, the same clothes. When you're bigger or plus size or curvy or whatever, I think there's different areas of your body to highlight, i.e. if I wore a shift dress that was just straight up and down with no definition anywhere, I would probably look a lot bigger than I actually am. And then meanwhile, when I'm highlighting certain areas of my body, it can camouflage things like my bigger thighs or my stomach or something and 100% transform my body and make me maybe look different than I actually am. They're be validated by one person and maybe go to a different scenario with the exact same person and get a 100% different response because I've changed something, and because they can't see me in the same light. I've literally seen this happen in my comments section where I will see someone comment something and I will watch them, like I'll check the comment section a few hours later and they will have like deleted their original comment on one video, praising me and telling me I'm not really fat, saying that my body is a good thing, and then going to a different video where maybe I wasn't wearing a high-waisted bikini, maybe I was wearing a bikini that completely showed off my stomach, or whatever it might be, I looked different, and they will 100% change their minds. Obviously, not everyone sees everything the same way, but my point here is obviously pointing out that that is a thing that happens. I've seen it a million times before, but also taking away the idea that we need to validate or purposefully try to take away from someone's body. I'm calling myself fat. It means that I have come to terms with the fact that in society's rule book, I would be considered fat, I would be considered plus size, and I don't really pussyfoot around about it. I call myself fat because if I didn't, other people would call me fat, and then it would be a taboo word. I feel like by calling myself that, I'm taking the privilege away from someone else who wants to call me that as a way to hurt me. Because if I'm already going into it using a word that you've heard your entire life is not nice or is rude to call someone, you probably already know that attacking my body isn't going to do a whole hell of a lot. But simultaneously, I don't need you to tell me that it's okay. I don't need approval for my body to be acceptable. When someone comes to me and they're like, you're not fat, you're just curvy, it upsets me more than anything because it's taking away from all of this that I've built up over the last couple of years, and it's saying to me, you're not those things are bad. Whether people mean it in that scenario or whether they're just trying to be polite, I'm not saying, if you've ever said this to me, like, don't take offense. I'm certain that none of you meant it in a bad way. It's just that validation that we feel that we have to give to other people because we're still not in a place where being fat and pretty or fat and attractive could be in the same sentence, really, without not somewhere in there. I honestly do feel like that's kind of where that stems from, and that need to validate someone else and that need to make someone else feel accepted by your standards is kind of where that comment comes from. I'm certainly not suggesting that someone trying to convince me while maybe they believe that I'm berating myself or anyone in the situation really is a bad thing, because I know that for me, being a girl in high school, I would call myself fat all the time in hopes that one of my friends would convince me I wasn't. So I'm sure a good chunk of it is that mentality, but simultaneously, I just think, when I see this over and over and over again, either validation or someone taking away from this image that I'm kind of accepting of myself, I just think it can be really damaging, to say the least. It's just really hard. It kind of feels like you're in a no-win scenario when you call yourself one word and you get yelled at, essentially, like I said before. And then, I have like this whole series on my channel that I call the Curvy Diaries. The media calls plus size women curvy all the time, instead of fat, because again, it's considered a rude word. I look like I'm gonna fly away. I look like I have like shadow wings. And now I think a lot of people are trying to take the word back to be used exclusively for smaller women who have curves, i.e. like the bigger butt, the bigger boobs or something, but have smaller features everywhere else. I don't really care. It's just a word to me and I'm going to use it how I want. But I just kind of wanted to point that out and kind of have a little sit down chat about it, because I think that it can be really damaging to have those thoughts, like I said, and to think that your opinion could possibly rule over the way that someone else views themselves is just so weird. I guess I just don't see it anywhere else, you know what I mean? Like, I don't hear, if you're thin and you call yourself skinny, I highly doubt like someone's going to be like, no, you're not skinny. You're something else, like some other positive word descriptor, which I know that a lot of thinner people do not like the word skinny, so I don't mean that in a negative way whatsoever. It's just another example. I just think it's important to let people be at peace with what they're obviously at peace with. At the same time, it's really important to know that people are like chameleons and we can change a lot, and I've seen it all the time for me personally, being on social media, where people will see a photo again from here up and think I'm one way and they'll praise me and tell me, I'm pretty or whatever, and then they'll go to the next photo. There was actually a whole thing where someone made like a meme of it or whatever, where someone put me side by side with one of my photos from like the chest up and then one full body, and it was like, looks can be deceiving. And it goes back to that, like, how can looks be deceiving? How can you be deceiving someone when you're very obviously the same person? You're not trying to trick anyone. It's just going through your day-to-day life, wearing various clothes or being in different lights or being in different angles, depending on your situation. I'm talking about this as just kind of a general thing. If you find someone attractive, that's awesome, and you should tell them that you find them attractive, but definitely don't subtract from that or tell someone that they're lesser than or unattractive because you don't personally find them to be a certain way. Like, there's a time and a place to voice your opinion, and this is a free world. We can say what we want. A lot of the times when I block people or delete comments, people like to go back to, it's my opinion and I have freedom of speech, and you definitely do. If you're willing to say those kinds of things, obviously you have to be willing to deal with the consequences. But I just implore anyone who genuinely believes that their opinion matters over someone else's self-worth to kind of take a look at yourself and decide if that's really what you believe, and if so, maybe reconsider. That's pretty much it. This has just kind of been on my mind lately, and I kind of wanted to like word vomit and get it all out there. And I will see you in my next video. If you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It means so much, and you can watch new videos from me, which I put out every single day. And give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.